Hi guys, welcome back to futuretechera. My name is Naveen and today we're going to learn about Microsoft PowerPoint desktop tool. Okay, so this will be the series of PowerPoint desktop videos which I'm going to cover today. That is this things called how to how to do the string manipulation using these things called Power Automate Desktop. Okay, so that things we are going to learn right now. So guys, if you're interested in this topic, please subscribe, follow and share with friends who want to learn Power Automate and get the job in these things called Power Automate Desktop market. Okay, so let me go start these things. First of all, what we'll do right now, we'll try to launch these things called Power Automate Desktop. So like this way, we'll try to go for launch these things called Power Automate Desktop. Okay, so here you can see right now multiple projects we have created. If you want to create these things called new, we'll go for these things called new particular project. We'll go for flow, and right now we'll try to go for create these things called my program. Okay, so let me go for that, and it's showing these things called loading. So right now, here you can see right now we're getting these things called main and subflows. Okay, what we are getting right now, main and subflows. So right now we'll try to create these things called program for substring. Okay, so what we'll right now, we'll try to go for here, and if you want to create these things called new program, we'll go for these things called new program, and there we'll try to go for create these things called your string and substring. So let me go for give these things called name as a substring program. Okay, so we'll try to go for these things called save, and let me go for that one by one. So first of all, what we do right now, we'll try to go for assign some variable. Okay, so right now what we'll do right now, we'll take this things called particular action that is called set variable. Okay, so we'll try to create one particular variable, and there we'll try to go for write these things. Okay, so by default we're getting these things called new variable. So here what we'll right now, we'll try to go for create these things called new as a, suppose it, I want to create the variable as a name as a very simple that is called a. Okay, and in a I want to save the data. Maybe that the data is called, suppose that I'm going to give this thing called UI path, that is called UI path, and click on this thing called save. Okay, if you want to display this data, let me understand these things. We have an activity that is called display message. Okay, so if you want to pass this data, first of all I'm going to pass this things called message box. Okay, and here what you want to display, I want to display these things called that is called a, and here automatically it will close these things called your particular message box. Click on these things called save. Okay, after that, let me check till now that is working perfect. Now run from here. Okay, so we're getting these things called UI path. Okay, so what you have to go for right now, that we are getting these things called perfect, that is called UI path. Okay, in UI path we have to take these things called data, that is maybe that UI, whatever you want to go for, that you have to take these things called, you have to take these things called substring data. Okay, so for substring data, what we're going to take these things called one particular actions, that name is called get subtext. Okay, so we'll to go for drag and drop these particular actions into your flow. Okay, here it's asking for original text. Please understand, it's asking for your that particular variable, that name is called a. So what we'll right now, we'll try to click on this things called select variable. We'll try to select these things called a. Okay, so what we'll right now, we'll take these things called a. Here we are getting these things called start of the text. Okay, so that is these things called start of the text. Okay, so we'll go for these things called number of characters. It's asking for these things called number of characters. Suppose that if I'm giving these things called 2 and click on this things called save button, again you to display. So that's why we'll take these things called display message box. Let me go for drag and drop, and we'll try to display these things called here. I'm going to pass these things called message box and message to display, that is the output of these things called get subtext, that is called subtext. So we'll try to pass these things called subtext here, and let me go for click on this things called save, and let me go for save also. So let me go for run this particular program, run from here. So we're getting the first message that is called UiPath, and second that is called, you can see right now we're getting these things called UI, that is starting from these things called up to 2, that is UI. Okay, we are getting perfect right now. Okay, so that is perfect right now, it's working perfect. Okay, so here what we'll do right now, if you want to go for this particular place in get subtext, what we're getting right now, start of the text. What is the option we're getting? Original text, that is your a particular variable. Start text means start your, going for starting in text. Character position. Okay, so this part we are going to understand right now. Okay, start of the text and number of characters we are getting here right now, and end of the text also we are getting right now. Okay, so end of the text means here I'll try to show you these things. Okay, so it's asking for these things called character position, and here we'll try to understand these things how we can go for these things called as a end of the text. Okay, so if you say I can create these things called new particular these things so you can understand easily. So let me show you using these things called new particular data. Okay, so you can understand very easily this part. So I'm going to take one particular variable that is called set variable again, and here I'm going to pass this things called as a b, and here I'm going to pass this things called power automate. Okay, let me click on this things called save. Okay, let me disable these things, so that is not required. Again, I will go for enable in last. I'll try to show you all these things. Let me go for disable, and here what we'll do right now, here we'll take these things called that same particular action that is called get subtext. Okay, so here we're getting these things called get subtext. Okay, so original text is asking, so original text that is called b, so we'll select this particular variable section b, and character position. So previous you have done using these things called start of the text. Okay, here if you go for a symbol that is called start of the text and number of characters, so here end of the text. Okay, one second, start of the text, and let me show you these things called character position. Okay, character positions right now we are going to pass, and here we are getting these things called number of characters and end of the text. Okay, so character position I'm going to pass up with it 2. Okay, I'm going to pass these things called 2. Okay, so end of the text it will try to go for display these things. We'll take one display message. Let me go for drag and drop, and here we'll try to pass these things called your data. So that is the variables we are going to pass, that is called subtext, subtext 2. Okay, so here I'm going to pass these things called subtext 2, and right now this part, let me go for pass here so we can go for that, and here I'm going to display these things called message box. Okay, let me show you. So first it will, what will do in last two things, it will not display a last two character, it will not display, it will display your whole data. So let me go for that, let me go for run from here. Okay, so it's showing all these things, power automate. Okay, so here it's totally showing these things called last part. Let me show you again so you're able to understand. So guys, what we're getting right now, that is called WER automate. Okay, so why we are getting these things, I'll try to tell you right now. Okay, so please understand here in get text, get subtext, we are giving these things called particular b variable. In v variable we are getting these things called power automate. Please understand. Okay, so in power automate it started it like the 2 year it's left, and after 2 we are getting these things called WER Okay, so that is things we have given here. That is the things we can see right now. That is the end of the text here. And here 2 position left, we are getting these things called whole data. Okay. If you pass here right now, suppose I'm going to pass these things called 1. Okay. So let me go for save, and let me go for these things called run the particular program. Okay, so what we are getting right now, that is this thing's called one left, and you're getting this thing's called whole data we are getting right now. Okay, same thing if you go for this thing's called, let me go for this thing's called here, let me go for this thing's called your power, power. Okay, so let me check this thing's called five. Okay, so five things end of the text will get these things called whole data. Okay, so instead of your power we'll get this things called automate. Okay, it's working perfect right now. We're getting this things called your automate, and that is perfect guys, working it right now. Okay, so end of the text it's showing all these things except your five character, it's showing this things called perfect. And using this things called gets subtext, we can take your whole data whatever you want to get. Okay, let me go for change these things, and here what we'll do here, we have done using these things called your start of the text, we have done character positions also we have done. And right now instead of end of the text we are going to pass these things called number of character. Okay, so number of character means how it's going to count, that you have to also understand. Okay, so it's it started with these things called five numbers. Suppose that here I'm talking about these things called character position. Okay, so five number means it will start 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So five means what? Means it will start with these things called automate A. Okay, automate. Okay, so you're going to pass these things called number of character means I'm going to pass these things called 7. If you want to display these things called totally your automate. Okay, let me show you, let me go for this things called run from here, that we're going to run this program. You can see it now, what we're getting right now, it's started from this things called fifth position means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So from 5 it's going to start, and right now AUT 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 till 7, that is a T number. Okay, so if you want to take these things called T, like the T last, you have to pass these things called up to 8th position. Okay, so we're going to pass these things called 8th position, so we'll get these things called power automate. Let me show you these things, let me go for these things called run file. Okay, so we'll get these things called power automate. Okay, so if you want to start with things called, suppose that you want to start with these things called power, power. Okay, so here it's start with these things called 0. So we'll try to pass these things called 0 and power. Okay, so we'll pass these things called 5. Let me go for save, let me go for these things called run file. Okay, so we are getting perfect. Let me go for enable all these things, so you're able to recap all these things and you're able to understand proper. We'll go for display this part, we'll go for enable this part. Okay, so in this particular message box what we have done, we're getting these things called direct message, that is UiPath. In second message box what we have done, that is these things called till your start the text and only two data. So two data will be UI and last whatever you have done, you know that. Okay, so let me go for run from here. So one by one we can go for recap this part. Okay, so we're getting these things called first message box, second UI, so up to two positions. Right now we're getting these things called up to second, that is the length is this things called second. And last one, you know that power will get, because we start with these things called 0, that power. Power automate it start with these things called 0, it will go for these things called till 5. So 0, 1, 2, 3 up to R, it's we are going to display these things called R, and right now it's working perfect guys. Okay, now we are going to understand, if you go for these things called particular my agenda. So if you go for these things called agenda, that is these things called your how to go for string manipulation, we'll go for these things called understand each and everything right now. How to get substring data using Power Automate Desktop, we have all done. And third point right now, how to convert string data into uppercase and lowercase, that part we are going to understand right now. Okay, so for that what we'll right now, we'll try to go for Power Automate, and right now what we'll do, we'll create one program that is using these things called new subflow, and here right now I'm going to pass these things called uppercase and lowercase. Okay, so first of all what we'll do, we'll go for these things called set variable. Okay, let me go for take this things called variable, that is called A. So I'm going to pass this things called A, and you're going to pass things, suppose that UI path. Okay. If you display these things, let me go for display. Directly what we'll do right now. So we'll go for these things called message box. We'll go for display these things, and right now we're going to pass these things called A. It will display these things, close automatically. We'll go for save. Again, we are going to convert this particular data into these things called capital letters. So what we'll do right now, so we have particular actions that is called change text. Okay, so we'll try to understand this things called change text. Here it's asking text to convert, so it's asking for your variable. I'm going to pass this things called A, and here we are getting this things called convert, that is called uppercase. So, okay, so if you want to go for pass these things called uppercase, it will display these things called uppercase. And right now we'll try to go for display message box, so it will display your whole data. Okay, so what we'll right now, we'll try to go for this things called message box, and here we'll try to go for these things called message to display. So right now we'll try to go for display these things called your this particular variable. So let me go for take these things subtext 2. Let me go for that is, sorry, that is the text with new case. Okay, so we'll take these things called text with new case. Text with new case, we'll take these things called text with new case. Okay, so we'll display that part, that is called text with new case. Okay, so let me go for run this program. So we'll go for this things called run from here. Okay, so first is the UI path is perfect coming right now, and second that is called UI path we're getting right now, that is the capital letter. Okay, again the question right now is what it will do if we go for these things called multiple things. We're getting these things called 4 part. Lower case right now we'll try to complete, title case and case sensitive, that part we'll go for one by one. Okay, so let me show this things called lower case. So here we'll take this things called one variable, that is suppose that set variable. Okay, so here we'll try to go for keep this into lower. Okay, suppose that I am saying that let me go for this things called that we have to convert into a small, like that, lowercase. Okay, so I am saying that Power Automate is one of the best RPA tool. Okay, RPA tool. Okay, and here we'll try to go for give this variable as a B. Let me understand these things. We have done these things using these things called B, and here we'll take these things called display one message box. Okay, so here if you want to go for pass these things, that is called B. So let me go for pass these things called message box, and here we'll go for display this part, that is called B. Okay, let me go for save. This part will display these things called B. Again, here we'll go for these things called change the text. Okay, so change the text case. Here I'm going to pass these things. Here we'll go for these things called text to convert. We'll go for these things called B variable. Here we'll go for these things called lowercase. Okay, and again we're getting these things called variable, that is called text with new case. So again we'll try to take these things called display message box. Okay, and here we'll go for these things called text new case 2. Okay, and here I'm going to pass this things called message box lower. Okay, let me go for close message box automatically. Here what we are going to do right now, that is we're going to convert into lowercase. Okay, so we're going to display into these things called lowercase. Let me go for one by one. First it will display these things called UI path. Second it will display these things called your UI path into upper layer. So because you've done these things called upper layer, again it will display these things called Power Automate is the one of the best RP tool. This is your original data, and we are going to convert into these things called here. That is we are getting right now. That is the Power Automate is these things called small letter. Okay, we're getting perfect right now. That is here it's working perfect. We're able to convert into small letter. Again, if you go for this particular place, what we're getting right now, that we are getting right now, that is these things called uppercase, lowercase. We have done, and right now it's working perfect. Okay. Here I'm getting this thing called title case. So what do you mean by title case? Let me go for save. Let me go for run this program again. We'll go for this things called run the program again. So we'll go for UiPath. It will display the same UiPath. It will convert into your capital letter. Right now we'll get these things called capital letter. Let me run this program again. So it's stuck right now. Let me go for run here. Okay, we're getting these things called capital letter. We're getting these things called that is same original data Power Automate. We're getting these things called Power Automate is the one of the best RP tool. Okay, so here what it has done, if you go for this things called title case, means for every letter they have done these things called the capital letter. Okay, so means for starting one particular places they have done every particular one letter that in the capital letter into title case. Again, if you go for sentence, what do you mean by sentence? Sentence means that starting of the particular paragraph, like that word that is in the capital letter, same thing they will do right now. Let me go for use these things called sentence case, and let me go for run this program from here. Let me go for save also. So guys, try to save the program always. Let me go for save. Let me go for run the program again. So let me go for run from here. So your path is coming perfect right now. Again, your path is capital letter perfect right now. Again, these things called PowerPoint is the best RP tool, perfect. And it's converting right now. You can see it now that Power Automate right now. That P is the capital letter because we have provided here. That is a sentence case. Okay, so Power Automate P is the capital letter, and again all this part into the small letter because we have done these things called here the sentence case. Okay, so using these things we can automate, guys. We can go for take these things called string, substring, converting this data into your upper layer, like that lower layer. All these things we can do using this into Power Automate, guys. Okay, so like that one by one we create the multiple video in these things called Power Automate, guys. And if my video is suitable for everyone, please try to subscribe and try to share with your people, your friends, to get for more Power Automate knowledge and go for your job. Okay, so guys, thank you very much for joining this session. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you guys. Thank you guys.